In a world where smartphones are becoming increasingly identical, where design trends repeat themselves year after year, and user experiences feel almost interchangeable, there is one brand that continues to stand apart: Sony Xperia. It has never been the most popular choice. It doesn't dominate sales charts, and it rarely appears in mainstream conversations. Yet, somehow, it refuses to disappear. That's the paradox. How can a smartphone be chosen by so few and still remain so difficult to ignore? What makes Xperia different in a market driven by mass appeal? The answer doesn't lie in flashy marketing. It doesn't lie in exaggerated colors or aggressive trends. It lies in philosophy. A development philosophy that values control over automation, precision over spectacle, and identity over imitation. Every detail, every design decision seems to follow a consistent vision. And that vision is what gives Sony Xperia its quiet but undeniable presence. So today, let's take a closer look at why Sony Xperia may not be for everyone, but remains one of the most intriguing smartphones in the modern tech landscape. Sony Xperia's design philosophy is immediately recognizable: clean lines, sharp edges, a rectangular form that refuses to follow the curved, rounded aesthetic dominating today's smartphone market. While many brands move towards softer silhouettes and uniform designs, Sony chooses precision. There is something intentionally industrial about Xperia. Minimal, structured, confident, and that alone already sets it apart. But the real difference goes beyond appearance. Sony has made deliberate choices that many other manufacturers have quietly abandoned. Take the micro SD card slot, for example. At a time when expandable storage is disappearing from flagship devices, Sony continues to include it. Not because it's trendy, but because for certain users, it still matters. Photographers, videographers, power users, people who value flexibility over limitation. Instead of chasing every design trend, Sony focuses on long-term usability. Features that support workflow, features that serve function. This is not a phone built for short-term excitement, it's built for longevity. And that commitment to practicality is what allows Xperia to maintain a distinct identity, an identity rooted in function, in purpose, and in sustainability. Sony Xperia isn't designed for everyone, and that's intentional. From the very beginning, Xperia has been built with a specific type of user in mind, someone who understands and truly appreciates the core values behind the product. This isn't about chasing viral trends, it's not about competing in a race for mass adoption. Instead, Sony focuses on refining the experience for a niche audience, an audience that values control over convenience, precision over automation, substance over hype. You can see this philosophy reflected in the deeper features Xperia offers. Advanced manual camera controls, a clean, uncluttered interface, hardware decisions that prioritize function rather than flashiness. Even the smallest design details feel deliberate, nothing feels accidental, nothing feels rushed. And that attention to detail creates a very different kind of relationship between the device and its user. When you use an Xperia, you don't feel like the phone is trying to impress you. You feel like it's respecting you, respecting your understanding, respecting your preferences, respecting your workflow. That subtle but powerful distinction is what gives Xperia its unique spirit. A spirit that doesn't shout for attention, but quietly communicates its identity to those who are paying attention. One of the most defining aspects of Sony Xperia is its approach to camera philosophy. In an era where smartphones rely heavily on aggressive image processing, boosted colors, artificial sharpness, AI enhancements, Sony takes a different route: restraint. Instead of letting algorithms completely reshape your photos, Xperia aims to preserve what the scene actually looks like: natural tones, real contrast, authentic lighting, and that difference becomes obvious the moment you start shooting. Unlike many mainstream devices that prioritize automation, Xperia gives control back to the user. You can manually adjust shutter speed, ISO, white balance, focus behavior, not through hidden menus, but through a dedicated interface inspired directly by Sony's alpha cameras. For photographers, this feels instantly familiar. The layout mirrors what you would expect from a professional mirrorless system. Settings are organized logically. Controls are precise. It's not designed for quick point and shoot convenience. It's designed for intentional shooting. For creators who want to decide how light is captured, how motion is rendered, how atmosphere is preserved, and that level of control changes the entire experience of mobile photography. Instead of the phone making decisions for you, you become the one shaping the image. That freedom, that transparency in image processing is what makes Xperia so appealing to photographers and filmmakers alike. It's not about producing the most eye-catching photo instantly. It's about producing the most honest one. And for a certain type of user, that honesty matters more than anything else. Photos taken with the Sony Xperia often don't look as instantly vibrant as those from other flagship phones, and that's intentional. While many brands push saturation, boost contrast, and apply heavy computational enhancement, Sony takes a more restrained approach. Instead of amplifying reality, Xperia tries to preserve it. Colors are kept natural, skin tones remain balanced, highlights and shadows are allowed to breathe. At first glance, some users might describe Xperia images as less dramatic, but for photographers and filmmakers, that subtlety is a strength, because what Xperia delivers is a cleaner foundation, a file with preserved detail, a wider dynamic range, more flexibility in post-production. When colors aren't aggressively altered by software, they become easier to grade later. When contrast isn't artificially crushed, you retain depth. That depth, the separation between foreground and background, creates a more cinematic feel. It allows creators to shape the final look instead of fighting against baked-in processing. For professionals who integrate smartphone footage into larger editing workflows, this matters. A neutral color profile blends more naturally into professional color grading pipelines. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't look over-processed. It looks honest. And in creative work, honesty provides freedom. Freedom to adjust exposure. Freedom to push shadows. Freedom to experiment. That's why many cinematographers and series photographers quietly respect Xperia's approach. It may not deliver the most eye-catching image straight out of the camera, but it delivers something more valuable. Control. And for a certain audience, control outweighs spectacle. Another defining feature of Sony Xperia is its 21:9 display. At first glance, it may look unusual compared to the standard smartphone ratio, but that extra width is not just a design choice, it's intentional. Most modern films are shot in widescreen formats close to 21:9, which means that when you watch movies on a typical smartphone, you often see black bars, cropped frames, or a reduced cinematic experience. On Xperia, the content fits more naturally. The frame feels expansive, the composition remains intact. You see more of what the director intended, and that changes how immersive the experience feels. The tall, narrow form factor also enhances vertical usability, but when rotated horizontally, it transforms into something closer to a portable cinema screen. Sony's expertise in display technology, inherited from its television division, also plays a role here. Color reproduction leans toward accuracy rather than exaggeration. Contrast feels balanced. Shadows retain detail. Highlights remain controlled. The result is an image that feels refined rather than over-dramatized. For casual viewers, that means movies look cinematic. For creators, it means something even more important. Accuracy. When editing video or reviewing footage, a precise display helps ensure that what you see is closer to what others will see. Subtle color shifts become noticeable. Exposure differences become clearer. Fine details remain visible. In that sense, Xperia's display isn't just for consumption, it's for creation. It bridges the gap between entertainment and production. And once you get used to that immersive 21:9 format, it's surprisingly difficult to go back to a standard screen. Despite all of these strengths, Sony Xperia has never been a mainstream success, and there are clear reasons for that. First, pricing. Xperia devices often sit in the premium segment, competing directly with giants like Apple and Samsung. But unlike those brands, Sony doesn't invest heavily in aggressive marketing campaigns. You don't see Xperia everywhere. You don't see massive launch events dominating headlines, and that affects perception. For many consumers, visibility equals credibility. Another factor is accessibility. In certain regions, especially in North America, Xperia models are harder to find in physical stores. Limited carrier partnerships also reduce exposure. Then there's the user experience. While Xperia offers powerful features, its interface leans toward minimalism rather than hand-holding. It assumes the user understands what they're doing, and that can feel intimidating to casual buyers who prefer automation and simplicity. So naturally, Xperia doesn't attract the average consumer looking for convenience above all else. But here's the interesting part. The very reasons that limit its popularity are the same reasons that strengthen its identity. Sony isn't trying to win everyone, it's focusing on those who value control, precision, and long-term usability. And in a market driven by mass appeal, that's a risky but intentional strategy. Xperia's limited popularity is not accidental. Several practical factors contribute to that reality. First, pricing. Sony positions Xperia firmly within the premium segment, and when consumers compare price tags, they often look at brand visibility and ecosystem strength. Competing against Apple and Samsung at similar price points is not an easy task. Then there's marketing. Sony's promotional presence has been relatively quiet in recent years. There are fewer large-scale campaigns, fewer influencer partnerships, and less mainstream exposure. For many buyers, awareness plays a crucial role in decision-making. If a device isn't constantly visible, it slowly fades from consideration. Another barrier lies in user experience. While Xperia offers powerful capabilities, its interface feels clean and minimal rather than guided. It assumes a certain level of familiarity with technology. For casual users who prioritize simplicity, that can feel less approachable. And finally, distribution. In several markets, Xperia devices are not widely available through carriers or retail stores. Limited physical presence naturally reduces accessibility. When customers can't easily see or try a product, adoption becomes more difficult. All of these factors combined help explain why Xperia remains niche. Not because it lacks capability, but because its strategy doesn't revolve around mass penetration. Today's smartphone users prioritize convenience above almost everything else. Speed, simplicity, instant results. Most people want devices that are easy to navigate, quick to operate, and effortless in daily use. They expect technology to adapt to them, not the other way around. In that environment, automation becomes a selling point. Smart features, AI enhancements, one-tap optimization. Xperia, however, takes a different approach. It leans toward depth rather than simplicity. Advanced features, specialized design choices, interfaces that assume a certain level of understanding. For tech enthusiasts, that's empowering. For casual users, it can feel less intuitive. And that gap explains why Xperia doesn't resonate with everyone. Mainstream buyers often prioritize efficiency and ease. Xperia prioritizes control and precision, and those are not always the same thing. Xperia is known for its consistency. Over the years, Sony has remained committed to its product philosophy. Even in a highly competitive market, it continues to preserve a distinct identity. Rather than chasing every mainstream trend, Sony focuses on the core values that originally defined the Xperia name. That commitment to authenticity is what keeps the brand recognizable. And for users who appreciate uniqueness, that consistency becomes meaningful. In a landscape where many smartphones look and feel similar, Xperia maintains its own character. That character is not designed to dominate the market, it's designed to endure. And that endurance is why Xperia still holds a unique place in the minds of many tech enthusiasts. Xperia stands out because it has chosen to protect its identity. In a market where many smartphones are beginning to look and feel the same, that distinction becomes increasingly noticeable. Its refined design, clean interface, and feature set focused on user experience give Xperia a character of its own. While many competitors adapt quickly to whatever trend dominates the moment, Sony continues to hold on to its core principles. That consistency creates something rare, a device that feels intentional. For users who value individuality, Xperia represents an alternative. Not louder, not flashier, but different. And that difference adds diversity to a technology landscape that is slowly becoming uniform. Xperia has built its reputation by preserving values that many other brands have gradually abandoned. While the industry moves quickly toward minimal ports, aggressive redesigns, and constant reinvention, Sony chooses continuity. Its distinctive design language, clean interface, and carefully selected features help Xperia maintain a recognizable identity within the modern smartphone world. That consistency does more than create difference. It provides familiarity. For users who appreciate stability, predictability, and a sense of refinement over time, Xperia feels reliable. It doesn't reinvent itself for attention. It evolves carefully. And because of that, Sony Xperia continues to sustain a loyal community, a group of users who understand what the brand represents and why it chooses this path. Sony Xperia is not a smartphone designed for everyone, and it never tries to be, but for those who value control over detail, over color accuracy, over depth and tonal balance, Xperia offers something increasingly rare: authenticity. For users who prioritize realism and personal customization, it delivers a level of refinement that few devices attempt to provide. It may not appeal to the majority, but for the right audience, its distinct identity is difficult to replace. Once you truly understand Xperia, its uniqueness becomes clearer. You begin to see the intention behind its design, the smoothness of its experience, and the purpose behind its specialized features. Everything feels deliberate. That combination of refined aesthetics and focused functionality is what sets Xperia apart in today's market. It may not be everyone's first choice, but the depth of its philosophy and the consistency of its quality make it difficult to dismiss. And that is precisely why Xperia continues to hold a distinct place in the minds of those who truly understand technology. Sony Xperia isn't perfect, and it doesn't try to be. It isn't built for everyone, but for those who value precision, authentic color, and meaningful control, it offers something rare, not hype, not trend, but identity. You may never choose Xperia, but once you understand its philosophy, it becomes difficult to ignore. So, what do you think? Is Xperia misunderstood, or simply uncompromising? Share your thoughts below. And if you enjoy deeper, unbiased tech analysis, consider subscribing to Next Tech Viet.